we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the Plant Mapping Meetup for January 2026. Please go ahead and use the link in the chat that will be available shortly and the QR code on the screen to fill out information. I believe Laura is advancing our slides once we're ready.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. All right, so today's agenda is our statement of purpose. We'll do some quick leadership intros, a little chat about mentorship from John. I'll give a tech tip, and then we'll have our upcoming dates and our show and tell, followed up by some Q&A, and if there's time, open conversation. All right, so the Plant Mapping Meetup Group is a community for all plant mapping professionals, regardless of industry, to discuss content, software, or methodology and share innovative solutions. I am your chair, Jenna Portanova, and I will be joining the U.S. Botanic Garden this January, serving as their botanist, so I'm very excited. Jamie, if you would like to do your intro.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Jamie Fry. I am the vice chair and basically queen of all things Plant Mapping Meetup scheduling. Carolyn, you want to pop on and say hi?
Hi, everybody. I am Carolyn Miller, the communications coordinator for this wonderful group. So I take all the notes, get minutes posted, and send you the links of all of our meetings.
John, if you'd like to pop on.
Hello, I'm John Chow. I'm the plant curator at Filoli, and I'm the mentorship coordinator. I am responsible for implementing our mentorship program, which I'll go over in a bit.
And Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Knutson Murray. I'm the education coordinator for the Plant Map groups. So finding speakers and just thinking about general education content. That's my role.
Okay, so a bit more about our mentorship program. Maybe can we put the link to this in the chat? So there's a form here to sign up, and I appreciate those of you who have signed up already, and I thank you for your patience as we're taking some time to get this going. But if you just fill out the form linked here, we'll get a sense of your experience and what you're interested in from a mentorship, either as a mentor or mentee. And we will start matching people so that they can start communicating with each other soon.
All right, I'll see if I can get that chat in there later. Our tech
Or
tip
get
is
too many screens up.
No worries. Tech tip seems to be not loading correctly. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, there we go.
Keep looking.
Oh,
Was
no,
that
go
it?
back. No,
Go
go back.
Okay.
You're fine. We'll see how it goes. So one thing we do see that comes up is for the Google group, it's a bit clunky to navigate. And so I was just going to kind of do a run through on how you can add yourself to the group if you haven't already. If you are already logged into your Gmail account, you just simply search. This was just a video of a search, so not too terribly exciting. You will click whichever comes up in your search that says Groups Google Plant Mapping, and there'll be a button at the top that says Ask to Join Group. Go ahead and navigate to the next one. If you are not a Gmail user or you are not logged in, you can simply send an email to plant-mapping-meetup plus subconfirm@googlegroups.com. They're on the screen. And what we'll do is you'll send that email, you'll get a reply, and in the reply, there'll be a button to say join this group. Go ahead and click next. We're going to hope this video loads in a moment. If it doesn't, Essentially, it's just showing you how to search our conversations. And so it very much reads like a very simple discussion forum feed. And every posted discussion is available here through the group. And at the top, you can search your conversation. So if you wanted to find GNS receiver, you can see what previous discussions have occurred, or you can choose to, on the left, click New Conversation and start a new discussion topic. You'll double click to open the discussion topic, and if you want to reply, you simply reply much like a pop-up email screen. So very simple to use. And that should be it. You want to talk about our upcoming dates?
Sure. So in between our quarterly meetings, we have a tea time, which is just an informal get together, sharing what's going on. And we have the next one on February 19th, and then March 19th, and then April 16th, save the date for our next quarterly meetup. Anything else you'd like to share, Jenna, about tea times?
Oh yes, they're a great fun time. They are not recorded, and it's very casual. Talk about the newest, the latest, or what's new with you and your institution. Just kind of a free-for-all every Thursday, correct, Laura? Once a month, every third Thursday. Sorry about that.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's me just floundering and asking for advice and us sort of troubleshooting things as a group. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to kind of get to know more members in the community and feel that sense of camaraderie that sometimes we feel all being stuck on something together.
Yes, please propose any troubleshooting you have at any time, whether it be conversations during our main meetings, the tea times, or in the discussion thread. We're always happy to help.
All right. So the show and tell today, it's a little awkward. I'm presenting myself, but Greg Payton from the Dawes Arboretum and I will be giving a talk on the IrisBG-ArcGIS Mobile solution. So let me go ahead and get going. Oh, there we go. Join us for tea and invite a friend. If you know of more GIS users or plant mapping people that would like to attend or be a part of our Google group, there's the QR code for joining. All right, so as we get going here, thank you all for coming, and I just wanted to introduce Greg Payton. He's the director of living collections at the Dawes Arboretum. He's worked there for 30 years. He became a naturalist as a young man at the age of 9, and his first job was at the Dawes Arboretum as a plant recorder, and he hasn't looked back. And I am Laura Knutson-Murray. I'm the GIS coordinator for IrisBG. I started off my conservation career as an advocate, a 13-year-old person who would write letters to the newspaper and our local city council trying to save champion trees from a road widening project. And I'm happy to report that the blue ash and the bur oak trees are still there today. So I was successful at a young age, and that got me going. All right, so an overview of what I'll talk about today is how the IrisBG-ArcGIS Mobile starts in a database. We'll talk a little bit about how you can filter that data and bring it into ArcGIS Online. And then I'll do a brief overview of how the IrisBG-ArcGIS Mobile works at a high level. And then I'll talk about field maps and some of the functionality of this application. Then I will turn it over to Greg, who will give a live demonstration about how he uses this solution. And then at the end, I'll give a sneak peek of a dashboard that we're working on for visualizing tasks. And a quick reminder about the knowledge library that is available. All right, so the IrisBG-ArcGIS Mobile project starts in IrisBG. If you're familiar with working with databases, you know that documenting and understanding the protocols behind your data really help you to understand what you're looking at. Many of the fields and code lists within IrisBG are customizable, which allows users to create a database that's really tailored to their needs. So these filters help you to further customize what's available in ArcGIS. Some examples of what you can do with these filters are, if you just want to look at the nursery items, you can do that. Or if there are trees that haven't been inventoried in the last 3 years, you can export that data as well. There's just many, many ways to filter. Possibilities are kind of endless. A tip for IrisBG users that have a very large data set that they're working with, you can filter by tasks if you want, and just have the items that are associated with tasks available. Another couple of filters that are optional for use are image filters. So if you need a thumbnail reference while you're out in the field to help you identify things, you can filter from all of the images that you have of your plant. You don't want to export all of those, but you can choose a ranking number and export that. Another feature, if you want to have all of your plants out there, but you would like to be able to see which ones have been assigned to a task, you can also create task filters and export those. So for those of you who are newer to ArcGIS, I'll provide some context for the programs that you'll be working with to make mobile data collection happen. There are several programs that the data moves in between. The first is ArcGIS Pro. It is a desktop application. It does the heavy lifting of preparing data from IrisBG to use in mobile applications. ArcGIS Online is a browser-based application that gives you control over how data is presented and who you share it with. Field Maps is a mobile application that you can take with you in the garden, and it's available for use on iOS and Android products. It's also able to be used in an offline context. So if you don't have great Wi-Fi coverage in your garden, or you are going to a really remote area, it's a great option. And of course, these can be paired with a GNSS receiver to improve the accuracy of collecting points. The IrisBG-ArcGIS Mobile solution is made available to our customers at no extra cost, as long as you have the data import module. You will need an ArcGIS license, but you only need to have ArcGIS Pro Basic.
I had a question recently, Laura, if you don't mind real quick, whether it was necessary to have the mapping module.
No, you don't need to have the mapping module, just the data import module.
Gotcha.
So in order to use the IrisBG ArcGIS mobile solution, let us know. I mean, you're a customer and you let us know that you would like to use it, and we'll send you an invitation to an ArcGIS Online group, and that's where we store the template and the toolbox that are compatible with IrisBG. And when you get an invitation, there'll be a little notification in the upper right-hand corner by that bell. As I mentioned, it comes as a project template. Templates are a basic starting point for a project. The IrisBG ArcGIS Mobile starts projects with the standard imagery from the Living Atlas, and then customizable geodatabases with feature layers and symbology set for your project. And then there's also a toolbox with scripts that pull your data from IrisBG and publish it to ArcGIS Online. As updates are made to IrisBG or the ArcGIS environment, new toolboxes are released, and the current toolbox is compatible with ArcGIS Pro 3.6. So once the data from IrisBG is published into ArcGIS Online, you can decide what other layers would be helpful to have in your map. This is a screenshot of what the map viewer application looks like. It allows you to set up base map and those extra layers. The contents toolbar on the left-hand side is the dark toolbar, and I'll just go through a few of the elements on that are helpful. So number one, that's the layers view. So if you're bringing in other data, whether it's irrigation or bed boundaries, that kind of thing, that's where you would do it. Number two shows options for changing your base map. Perhaps you have imagery that was taken by a drone that is of higher quality than what is available for free. Then you can switch it there. And three is where you create bookmark locations. So if your site is large or you like to have that ease of having the map zoom to a specific spot, this is where you save those. And of course, number four is the saving icon, which is critical if you want to have those changes displayed in your map. On the right-hand side, the settings toolbar allows you to change things like the labels and pop-ups. So highly configurable for what you would like to see. Moving into data collection and field maps. I have a couple screen views. One is of an Android tablet on the left and an iPhone on the right. The interfaces are very similar, just minor differences. Cancel is an X or submit is a check mark. Also, the location buttons look a little different. But other than that, they operate fairly similarly. So just going through some of the contents of how field maps works. That cancel button goes back to your maps list. Submit is essentially your save button. It saves your edits to the cloud. If you're working in an offline context, there'll be an additional icon that's rotating arrows, and that will sync your information to the cloud. The location button, number 4, has 3 modes, and I think this is important to understand. So you press it the first time, and it activates the location finder. So it shows where you are on the map. And you press it a second time, and it shows where you are, but then orients the map north. And you press it a third time, and it centers on your location, but shows you what direction you're facing. And to turn it off, you can scroll or pan in the map, and it will turn that off. If it's unavailable, if it can't find you, then the icon is gray. And another critical point is the circle with the crosshairs shows if you are within your desired accuracy settings. The circle will turn blue. If you are, it'll be red. If you're outside of that, if the GPS is not finding you within your desired level of accuracy. And it's gray if it's not available. And then 6, it's fairly self-explanatory. When you click on an asset, an item in the map, this panel will pop up, and you can show how you can update the point, add an attachment, or change the fields that are available in the drop-down menus. And Greg will give us a live demonstration of how all that works. I'll hand it over to you at this point, Greg.
Okay. Well, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Good to be with you all. Know many of you, have known many of you for years. Some are some new faces. Good to see you. The Dawes Arboretum, just one correction, was not my first job. I started here when I was age 30, so I've been here half my life. But so fun point there. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you some points here that were discussed. This is our, does everybody see the screen here? This is ArcGIS, the desktop computer program. And we have quite an extensive base map, as you can see here. We're almost 2,000 acres. All the areas in the shaded boxes here are Dawes Arboretum properties. and then surrounding county roads and state highways and things like that. So as you zoom in, I have it set up so that you see new features as you come in. So you see like our named garden areas. As you come in further and further, you begin to see more features. And you get to this point, and then the plants appear, which is which is very useful. And now the accession numbers pop in at a certain level, and you are in charge of whatever zoom levels you want various features to display at. If I were to click on one item here, for example, this just brings up a quick identification box that tells you what the plant is, and then has all the fields from IrisBG that have been exported into this ArcGIS IrisBG mobile solution. So you can edit virtually all these fields in the field when you're out in the collection with the plants. Also data for high accuracy data collection. We have a Trimble R2, actually we have 3 of them, GPS receiver. And with the online data correction stream we use from our Ohio Department of Transportation, they provide a free auto correction stream available through the internet. We are able to get 7-centimeter accuracy in the field, and so no post processing. Basically, live data collected in the field becomes a part of your database, your data without any extra work. So when you first set up the project, this is the project. You can see the catalog view over here. Laura was talking about the toolbox. There's various portions, like when you're setting up your database. Move my little video thing out of the way here so I can see it. But it takes all of your code lists from IrisBG. So like when you have drop downs that have data in it that you've programmed. So like for example, plant conditions, good, fair, poor, excellent, whatever. It takes those data and creates domains within the database to autofill those selections. And I will demonstrate that later. Updates your symbology so that your item types are displayed properly. And then the upgrade process is where, the upgrade process is there's one option here for updating the features layers to the latest version, but most of the action takes place in these 1 and 2 numbered options here. So import data from IrisBG is, as it sounds, you have ArcGIS Online and say that this is your first import, you don't have data, or you want to refresh the data from IrisBG. You run this script, and I'm not going to run it, but just to show you what it looks like when you click on it, you choose your hosted feature layer online. So we have our item layer here, and you would select that, log in with your username and password. And if you're loading reports, you can select which saved report you select from IrisBG. This will bring in the plants. So this is how you bring in what plants you want. As Laura said, you can just bring in items that need mapped, items that are sort of parts of certain tasks. You can bring in whatever you want. We bring in everything and utilize it for all different sorts of purposes. But you can bring in the tasks that you wish to have incorporated into ArcGIS Online. And even the images that you wish to select. You basically run this task, and it brings in the data, and it'll display all the coordinates of your mapped plants in ArcGIS Online. Similarly, let's just do this in order. Okay, we've loaded the plants. I'm going to show you here. Here is my tablet. I have a tablet viewer called Visor. If anybody wants to use it, VYSOR. There's a little ad for it, but this allows you to view and operate your tablet online. The only thing you can't do is Zoom. I have to do that manually. But let's go in and say that I'm out mapping plants and I want to map the location of this 2003 392 item right here. I can click on that in the field, and when I have my GPS receiver attached and I'm streaming 7 centimeter accuracy, I then click this item and choose to edit, and you can update the point. So this is where you would click and it will connect to your GPS receiver and give you the coordinates of the point. You can take a photo of the plant while you're there. That's useful if you have IrisBG and you're displaying plants in your Garden Explorer or Arboretum Explorer website. You can have photos to show the public. Useful for documenting your plants. We take photos of even problems with plants. We don't publish those, but if we have like a major wound on a tree trunk or something, I will document that in the records. And it'll have a date and time and or a date and comments about what that issue is, but it's set to a level so that it's not published onto the website. We don't want to advertise problems with our plants. But these drop downs, this is what I was talking about. You can select things from the domains that you set up by bringing in your code lists from IrisBG. And if it's mapped, in this case, we would go to and say mapped. We can select the and search for whatever garden area you are looking for, and then put the name in of the person who's doing the mapping, date the plant was mapped, items condition. You can type in comments about the plant. If the plant has a gender, you see fruits on a holly, so you would know that's a female. You can then set that appropriately. Update your label, and these are sort of grouped using Field Maps Designer into boxes that you can then. So all of my label data is in one box just to keep things organized. So this has an accession tag that's okay, hanging on a branch. This has a display tag that's okay, also hanging on the branch. If you measure your plants, we have so many plants. We have almost 17,000 plants in our collection. We don't measure them. We used to when we had fewer plants, but not in recent history do we measure. But so you can update all of these features in the field. And as Laura said, you would submit the data and it'll save it. You have to have a connection to the internet to upload the data. And as Laura said, you can work offline and then sync the data later when you're back online. But we have a number of, what are they called? They're called Wi-Fi hotspots that are basically utilize a cell phone connection and create a Wi-Fi hotspot in the field that we connect the tablets to. So we're always, we're going to discard those changes. We're always online even without Wi-Fi in that case. So that's useful. So we've mapped all of the plants we wanted to map. We've uploaded the data. And then we come back into IrisBG. You would then run the export data to IrisBG. So this is the from and this is the to. And again, you pick your items layer of where all your changes were made, log in with your username and password for IrisBG, and then it will load all of your changes. I hadn't opened IrisBG this morning, which is unusual. So let me do that real quick. Oops, hold on, I fat fingered that one. There we go. So once your changes are uploaded back to IrisBG, as Laura said, you have the data import module. 1 second here. I should have loaded this earlier, but I hadn't thought of it. Won't take long. Okay, so you go down into maintenance data import, and If you look for all the data sets that are ready to import, you can search them and select whatever data import file is the one that you worked on today. And it will then allow those changes to be imported into IrisBG. So then from that point, you want to go back and transfer your updated data back to the map. So you would then go back and do the import data from IrisBG so that your map has all the features on it that you just changed out into the field. What's useful, and people don't realize how useful it is, but when you have various projects, we have utilities, we have signage, we have various other tools, even a website that's been created called the Dawes Arboretum Plant Explorer. And this is just a website that anybody with an ArcGIS login can access in the field on their phone or on a tablet and view all of the plants and all of the data online. So there's a lot of useful things you can do with a GPS, ArcGIS layer that has all of your plants on it. You can overlay it with your utilities to find out if you're digging up the water line, what plants are going to be affected. All sorts of opportunities abound there with this option enabled. So we are quite excited. And that was a bit fast. I'm not sure how my time is going, but we can talk about some other options if you're ready to, Laura. Were you wanting to talk about the dashboards?
Well, there are a few questions while you have your map up.
Oh, please. Yeah, I did not see them pop up. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
And we can keep this casual, everyone. If you want to unmute, Michael had a question about your base map.
Okay.
He was wondering why it's divided in quadrants.
Yeah, that's a part of Dawes history, starting back in 1930, up in our North Loop area up here. They started installing markers or monuments in the ground at 100-foot intervals. So at each of these intersections, there's actually a buried marker that we used to map our plants by finding those markers and then running measuring tapes, 100-foot tapes between 3 of them to create an L shape and then measure XY coordinates in to draw the plants into books. That's how we used to map. Quite antiquated now, but we still use these numbered AI07, various numbers like that to separate plants into groups so that we can inventory all the plants that are within this section. And it just makes dividing a large area of hundreds of acres or even garden areas that can be quite large. Like our conifer garden area is quite extensive. Sorry, this is taking a bit slow to load here, but so for inventorying the conifers, we want to be able to work on it in sections, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
It's also good to know that you don't have to use the WGS 84 if you don't want to. If you have a local projection that you would like to use, that's absolutely possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you can set it up to use NAD 83 or UTM coordinates, all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We actually have all of our coordinate data stored in UTM coordinates, which is a bit unusual, but that's how it was set up when we first started our journey into GIS back in 1999. So we've been doing this for quite a while.
Let's see, I see a question from Autumn.
Okay.
You're asking about the task filter. Did you want to unmute?
Sure, it's not really specific to this presentation,
Okay.
just with all of the the utilities that that you were showing, Greg. I was wondering about if there was a tutorial or a place that we can go to find out more about the task filter, because we're having a little bit of trouble deploying it.
Okay, well, I can follow up with you offline and look into it. Yeah, there's
Thank
lots
you.
of ways to use the task filter. Essentially, you're setting up events, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Autumn, and then you can filter by type or start date, like any of that, and bring it in. But I can definitely help point you in the right direction.
Mhm. And with IrisBG, starting, I forget which version, but more recently they've created, you're able to save filters. So you can go into one of these filters that you set up and actually save to reload and use the same filter later. So you can have multiple filters on different reports and then just load those as you wish. So that's when I was back in back here. I didn't mean to go out of that, but I'm already on it. When I was talking about the import or export data, that's the task filter that you select. So that task filter was number 65 here. So it's, you can have multiple filters to pull in different tasks or different groups of plants for different purposes.
There's also a question in the chat of where it interfaces. It's in ArcGIS Online is where it works.
Yeah. So if I go back to, well, this was our utilities report right here, but I can load our plant layer on top of this and see where all of the electric and water lines and everything are and various features. I didn't save anything there, so I can leave that. But you can see here when you have IrisBG mobile, you basically have a this is a copy of it here. This isn't the main one. There it is right there. But this is the web map that Laura was talking about. So you can load this in a map viewer. You can create new maps. But see, you have all of your data here that comes with the project. But you can build different tools out of these data once you have them loaded. So does that make sense?
Yep. Any other questions? Well, Greg has his map up.
I actually had two questions, one for Greg. Greg, for the Visor app, would you be willing to share what your subscription costs are for your usage?
It's free.
Oh, wonderful. And then my other question is for Laura. Any progress or ideas in the works with IrisBG to sync with QGIS?
We've talked about it. I think it's on pause for the moment, but definitely possible. We can
Awesome.
keep talking if that's something that users are requesting. We're finding that most of our users are ArcGIS users, but happy to field feature requests. All right. But
Something I think many of you have heard of a product called Floria. It's another solution for working in the field with plant data, but unfortunately, its end of life is within sight, I would say. So it's not being updated. It's not a active, viable solution for the future. But the tools that are being created in ArcGIS is what can replace that functionality.
all right. So I have one last slide to share.
Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, we'll switch over.
Okay.
I can get it back up here. So we are continually building, let's see, can you see it?
It's loading.
Okay, we're continually adding tutorials to the knowledge library in Zendesk. So as you have questions about, how to improve the image quality or how to add filters, we're feeding those feature requests and creating tutorials. So in the works, a sneak peek for all of you who stayed to the end of the presentation is that we will be publishing a tutorial about how to create a tasks dashboard using your hosted layer in ArcGIS Online. So this can be configured with desktop and mobile views. It does require Wi-Fi to use, or a data plan to use it out in the field, but it will allow you to filter your task lists and zoom into the entries, and then open up field maps to continue editing that data. So just a sneak peek of things to come.
Yes, yes, Jenna, this is the ArcGIS, dashboard solution. So, and there's another option on here if people really want to get into designing things. There's a what's it called?
Experience Builder.
Yeah, also, Experience Builder.
Yeah.
That allows you to create all different sorts of websites basically, or task launchers, or it's like a full-featured website builder, other than it's just through ArcGIS. And this is the dashboard that she had the photo of, so I can show you actually how this works real quick. We're still developing this, so it's not quite to the point that I want yet, but what I want to see, instead of all the plants in my collection. Oh, I'm not sharing, am I?
Oh, not yet. I had one more slide just to show the tutorial.
Okay.
Available in the knowledge library. Yeah. And I threw your email address up there. I hope you don't mind.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
And I will go back and share again real quick, but this is what the dashboard looks like. And you see it loads all of our plant items, but we have the tasks loaded, and it can filter by task. So if I'm looking for all the plants that needed mapped last year, you see it filters the list to only show the plants that need mapped. So what I'd like to be able to do is to use this to visually orient myself with where I need to go to map plants, and then find those plants. And then the goal is to have them linked so that you can click on it and it loads it in field maps and allows you to go through the mapping process like I demonstrated earlier, or inventorying, or whatever functions that you need to perform out in the field on those plants. So this is coming. We're still developing this. Okay.
Well, thanks, Greg, for giving us a live demo. It's always a little nerve-wracking, but it worked. Technology didn't fail you, so that's good.
Nope. Yeah, you can use whatever base map you wish. We just happen to have a nice GIS that shows our property and features that allows us not to have to look through trees on our satellite view.
Yep, that's always a challenge if you have luscious vegetation, as I call it, that doesn't fall down in the winter. So, all right. Well,
great. Do we want to open this up to just general discussions and kind of a free form?